Okay, colleagues, let's resume our work. Colleagues, it would be great if you get to the conference hall and we will start our panel. Now we have the overall discussion on the reconstruction, effective solutions, and partnership. We'll discuss real projects in communities, in schools, hospitals, centers for administrative services, housing entities. Serhii Porovskyi, UNIDO, he is a real good friend of us. Serhii, the floor is yours. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be at this panel. Nice to see all of you here. It's nice that we are here, that we here because we are ready to do something, at least at the expense of our resilience, because we continue our work in such time of hardships, and it is of great respect for all of us. As all this builds up certain support, we need this support, it's true, but we should rely on ourselves as well. For the reason that today we have started our Energy Day from the main thesis, building up trust, how it is important to have a good interactions between all the projects. And it's true. The key potential in Ukraine, it's people. Secondly, in Ukraine, we have lots of natural resources. And Ukraine, in this regard, could be probably one of the best European countries. But also trust, as I said, it's so critical. Summing up our discussions in the earlier session, one advice that actually was offered for the audience: in order to survive in this world, despite the hardships we go through, it's necessary to be competitive, more knowledgeable, and to find right partners. And we will actually try to do this. It's easier to talk over a partnership rather than give good samples and good examples of partnership implemented. And Vitalii Poplavskyi, Panasonic Ukraine. Oleksii Parkhomchuk, Investment Director of Impact Fund Denmark. Tetyana Lytvyn, the Director of Representative NEFCO of Ukraine. Victoria Nalifan, GIZ. And Andrii Berestian, Danfoss Ukraine Director. And as Anastasia said, me will be moderating this session. My name is Serhii Porovskyi from UNIDO. Okay, let's start discussions on technologies, and then finalize our session with technologies. Vitaly, the floor is yours. Your story, how actually you started your operations and go on with operations in Ukraine. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for your invitation to this event. It's a very interesting event. It's a good forum, wonderful presentation. They will be useful for community representatives. My name is Vitalii Poplavskyi. I am the staff of Panasonic Ukraine. I'm proud to be with this company, and I'm proud to be engaged in Ukraine recovery programs together with Japanese programs. JICA, it's Агенція співпраці Японії. They use resources of Japan in order to give support to Ukraine. Let's start with the first slide. We show you what we have done, what we plan to do. Briefly, what has already happened? Actually, before the large-scale invasion, Panasonic actually was one of the first companies who left the Russian market. But also we give support to Ukraine. Initially, we started with humanitarian aid. Actually, we provided them with the standby facilities, and then with the assistance of JICA, we implemented the first series. It was the first range of programs on modernization and installation of heat pumps, Panasonic heat pumps in kindergartens. And the communities really were very happy with this and applied for the continuation of this program. And also, in my opinion, it is also interesting the project on vocational schools based on the technicums, and it is vocational schools in Ukraine. This project was initiated by JICA and Ministry of Education of Ukraine and found a strong support by the ministry staff, and we understand that today we have a really shortage of technicians who could actually provide installation of the energy-efficient technologies, and we understand here, no doubt, we could give a strong response. Also, we do understand that for the future reconstruction of Ukraine, a number of proficient staff should be increased, and we understand huge work to be done in future. And the most important is that kids and those who study in vocational schools, it is necessary to give them the message and understanding that after finishing their vocational schools, they will have not only certificates, but they will have real skills and knowledge what will make their life more interesting and respectful. Ministry of Education of Ukraine approved this program. Now I would like to talk on the content of this project. We implemented this project in three locations, two in Kiev, one in Odessa. We selected highly efficient equipment in consultations of our specialists. We have training centers in Poland for our partners. Panasonic actually is one of the companies that engage in climatic systems, and also there is a big trust on the part of the Japanese partners as to the implementation of such program is really high. Some pics on the screen from the locations. Actually, you may see here 5D cameras, and actually they actually fed the image on the different locations in order to see what's going on. We have also external equipment assembling as well as external. The most important is that we have a nice peak of equipment, but we have a very good mission to give training for trainers, because solutions that were expected by the manufacturer, they should be known by the consumers of this equipment, by the users of these heat pumps, and lots depends on the culture. Training of trainers is very important for us. Specifically, all this, you see on the pig that on May the 9th, we did commission one of the facilities. Deputy Minister was invited, as well as Ambassador of Japan. The Director of JICA Ukraine also was invited to this event. And but as we understand what is important, not only commission this or that facility, but also it is nice to use actively this space. JICA, UNICEF also are planning to use such an opportunities in order to give training not only our line specialists, but also the last grade students to be also invited to the classes in order to be in a full know on the novel technologies. And Serhii also mentioned that Ukraine is a very rich country. Mr. Ujihara from Japan, once we decided to travel to our partners across Ukraine, and he said, when he saw our fields, when we saw all the nature, he said, you cannot even imagine how Ukraine is rich. And we should rethink this, and this will allow us to think in a completely different format. Thank you.
Такий формат, тому що
Thank you very
що дуже живу дискусію.
Vitalii, thank you very much. And so we will have this format, and later I will ask you many more questions after the story, and then there will be questions from the hall. So what happens when you commission this site? What your result of your work? How does it do? So please, all the donors almost they have the monitoring missions, and of course they make reports to the taxpayers. They want to show the efficiency of use of money. So when we install some equipment, it needs some maintenance and control, and understanding who will be the manager, maybe remotely. So maintenance is very important, and in the case of training centers, we train the trainers. They will continue to do it. It's very important because we wanted to load for the students. But in the case of these 5 kindergartens, we help local communities to manage this. But the previous example, there was a very good and efficient equipment was installed, but nobody maintained it, and it was broken. So always we needed to help people at the first steps, and someone should maintain. Yes, of course, Vitalii, it's very good. In my career, I had so many examples. When you spend money, you install equipment, but you don't train an operator, or just you don't change a piece of pipe that comes to the big and expensive boiler, and all this money they are used in vain, and the time is used in vain, and bad reputation. But I saw 400 specialists should be trained every year. So the role of Panasonic was to install the equipment and to train the trainers and those who professors. And do you cooperate with JICA or someone else? Mostly we are concentrated on JICA, but now Panasonic works with the UNIDO project in relation to decentralization of district heating, because many cities they have their plans and roadmaps, but small and medium cities they really need to get help how to develop a concept to make some networks or maybe some deviations. So this story is important, and just to put into global stories this decentralized heating. Yes, and of course we speak about economy, about development, but the most important, as in the US and Britain, the economy, it's a process that needs human capital, resources, money, which is the third element, not maybe not the most important, but you need to combine resources and human capital in time to make everyone working. So thank you for that Panasonic exists. You transfer these technologies, and you help our human capital to be better and more developed. Thank you. So if we had the representatives of the Japanese government, we would help them, because 1 year and a half the government of Japan provided a very big assistance, and we signed 17 memorandum with different agencies, and with us 180 million we received for support of critical infrastructure and the UNDP, and so. But to implement this, we need the partners here. We need the technologies and transfer of technologies. And now we will speak to Oleksii, who represents Impact Farm Denmark. And Denmark is exceptionally powerful and as a trading country, because even despite the population of Denmark, which is even less than Kiev itself with the suburbs, but Denmark helps a lot of countries, and the most energy efficient countries are the Japan and Denmark, by the way. So the experience of Denmark and what Denmark is doing in Ukraine. Welcome, Oleksii. Thank you, Serhii, and thank you for invitation to the conference. At this place, there should have been someone else, my colleague Soren Müller. The presentation is not mine. I can follow it, but if we speak about our experience, we are an investment fund, Impact Fund Denmark. Maybe someone you know. It's the investment fund for developing countries, and we can make investments in public field and in private. And my responsibility investment in private companies. Soren could not make presentations today. He is traveling, but I have the slides, and so I will not go very deeply in the slides, not to make a mistake. But once again, Serhii, thank you also that Denmark helped a lot, and Denmark is a business and entrepreneurial country. And if you ask even a Danish country to the Danish embassy, you will get an invoice because the government should earn. It's not a facilitation fee. In some countries it can sound negatively, but the services should be paid. And when we speak about the private investments, all our investments, they happen for the commercial capable to achieve the results of project. So our investments, we have more than 60 among them. We have 15 in private sector. They are all profitable, despite one which is in Kherson region on the occupied territory. And wind park Sivash, of course, we cannot get anything from that until these territories will be deoccupied and the guilty will be punished. But in the public field, we try to work with the growing activity. So every year on quarter, we try to do more, both in Ukraine and other countries where we work globally. And if we look at this slide, it shows the general picture what we do. So the most important here, we prioritize water as one of the main field of our activity, energy, and sanitation. I don't know especially precisely what it is about, but I would say that everything is about purifying and treatment of water and creation of environment good for living. And what I was impressed that billions of people in the world, they live in bad conditions in relation to water and sanitation. So that's why there is a question how in some heads of some politicians the idea is that let's solve something through war. Let's throw missiles and bombs on someone, and it will be better. So that's how, unfortunately, some countries they reason when they have these military capacities. But when our activities, we focus first of all on these issues, and we want that in our area of activity, through investments, the people who need better conditions for living, they would get these conditions, especially through these projects and investments that we finance. What do we do? We can provide grants that all grants are already distributed. Elena was saying our grant as a resource, as in many organizations, they are already used, and now we will have loans for municipalities, for municipality companies. We work for this, and I would say that Ukraine for our fund was always a priority. But because of the war, it became a very high priority. We compete with Africa here. Africa has always bigger chances despite all. But for investment in public sphere, 80%, they, of course, they focused on African countries. But we got a good result. And the team within our fund, which works, is very much dedicated and makes a lot than it would do. So sympathy and empathy to Ukraine are very high for many Danish colleagues. And what happens in Ukraine, it's not only just a line in the news, it what them excites them, what happens near the people whom they know, with whom they want to work, and with whom they would like to be close in one state alliance like European Union. So it's very easy to work with Danish people in this way. So many of you heard about a special cooperation with Mykolaiv. Mykolaiv is the shipbuilding city, and Denmark is a shipbuilding country. So I think that today in the world it's not so easy to find a place where the ships are built. So the process is very complex. It becomes even a legend than truth, but we feel very comfortable in Mykolaiv, and we hope that Mykolaiv is happy about us. And in Mykolaiv we have an office of the embassy. It's very cool to have this separation from the embassy in Mykolaiv, and water is our priority. 40% of this and I will not stop on this slide. And it's a very technical one. What we did in Ukraine today, our grants are 366 million crowns. It would be about 50 million euro. So the grants that we had and the resource we could provide, it was 50 million. Lviv, Mykolaiv, the money that had to go to Zaporizhia were distributed to other projects in Kremenchuk and projects for treatment facilities for water supply in Lutsk, Lubny, and Khmelnytsky. They are in the promotion phase. In Lviv, the water treatment project is a long-term one. So maybe it was before us and will be after us. And in all cities, we focus mainly on water supply or treatment of water. In Kremenchuk, as exclusion of money went for support of the destroyed facility for central heating for heat for the population. So that's what about our pipeline main activities. And I would say here that we continue to look at what is the water in other cities, and our contact information is not closed, and we understand and we heard today that we don't have quality projects, not because people don't need it, but because there are no people to prepare them and support. And with all empathy from our colleagues and allies, we need to tell them to support and explain. But there are very little people for emigration for mobilization, and it's not so easy to come to them and to give them some coffee, but it is not so much to get money, especially for big projects. And I will not speak more. So you see the contacts for Mr. Müller, for whom I present, and you can send your messages that will come to us. Thank you very much, Oleksii. And
Я особисто дуже радий, що
Okay, thank you very much, Oleksii. It's nice to have you here. The Danish effort is really worth respect because we're also dreaming on such perfect work as you do. The water quality as it should be. Probably we wish much it should be better like it is in Denmark. And our water resources are very powerful in all the terms because we use water for agricultural sector. Also, we actually have the water-operated energy plants, and it's I understand it's a long story in order to know how water resources could be used. We have sort of problems in Ukraine with regards to the way the resources are used. But we understand the Danish experience will be a real helper for us. We have the vacancy director in Mykolaiv, director of water utility. It's a very tough story. It's a very tough story. It's a very tough story. NEFCO, how long you are here? From 1020, we have ratified a framework agreement, and we started operation even 3 years earlier. NAFCA was engaged in the projects on the gas offs reduction. Tetyana, Lytvyn, you're the NAFCA head office director. Could you tell us what you really do? Actually, how you meet challenges and respond to challenges in Ukraine. And it's nice to be here with you, colleagues. It's nice to be here to share our experience. NAFCA, it's actually mainly tackles implementation, as we have a very good experience of challenges and successes. Thank you for the chance to talk here. A few words to be said. NEFCO, it is the international financial institution that works from 1020 in Ukraine. When NEFCO Ukraine ratified the agreement, we work also like EBRD and European Investment Bank, but the scales of our operation are smaller. Our main focus is medium and small communities. We work directly with communities, and over that time, we implemented more than 240 projects, and we have the office in Kyiv. We are present in Ukraine. We work with many agencies and donors, with the co-founders of NEFCO. Our main priority is that we are flexible and take quick solutions, and mainly we will be relying on sustainable results. From 2022, after the large-scale invasion, NEFCO continues its support to Ukraine in response to the challenges that occurred, and we initiated the Green Reconstruction Project. We accumulated resources from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, as well as EU, and this facility, more than 370 million euro. We mainly provide funding that is heat powers, cogeneration projects, energy efficiency of public infrastructure, schools, medical facilities, and there was one activity pathway that we started to respond on the mainly acute problem as destroyed housing. Our main office is in Helsinki. We have 9 persons in staff in NEFCO Ukraine. Currently, during the war, we are implementing during the war 60 projects. 24 of those have been already finalized. And when I was getting ready to this event, I wanted to focus on the most successful cases because it was very difficult to select them out of the total number of projects we implemented. And now from 2022, the NEFCO actually stopped some operations, that is easy terms, funding and financing schemes, implementation of green energy technologies. But for us, it was very important to give knowledge to communities how to work with investment projects. NEFCO actually has its own rules, internal rules, procurement rules, and for many communities, it was a very difficult story because it is not the public procurement, and from the beginning of the large scale report, we fully switched to the grant-supported projects, and that is building housing in the West for the IDPs and under support of the European Commission, European Union. We also provided support, constructed 32 apartment blocks. Some of them has already been commissioned, and it's very untypical NEFCO project because it was a sort of a challenge after the war started, and we always support the green technologies, green reconstruction, and try to construct these housing blocks and apartment blocks in the most green fashion as possible. It was a sort of a challenge for us to rebuild the critical infrastructure. We started from the deoccupied communities in Kiev region, and with the support of the European Union. Total cost of the program was 75 million euro, and we started rehabilitation of the district heating and water supply systems. Many of these projects are in its final stages. The first phase, we covered Kiev region, and then we included Chernihiv, Nizhyn, Akhtirka, and Trostianets, Pervomaisk in Mykolaiv. And in Mykolaiv, we actually modernize heat and water supply systems. Actually, we today are ready to give response to the most acute challenges, and as we always give support for the reuse of the resources, and today we launched the program on the reuse processing of the waste because we have lots of debris of the ruined buildings, and we have a pilot project. We are preparing it. We have procured the equipment, and actually we sent some people for training to Finland, and they will get skills how to operate this heavy-duty equipment. And it is a sort of an institutional component, and we will be procuring the relevant equipment as well. Especially, it will be much demanded in the pre-front communities. We have a large number of projects implemented by our donors. That is Mykolaiv region. Then they give rehabilitation to water utilities and thermal generation to be also rehabilitated and also we are planning to give reconstruction of educational facility and what we are planning to do. For us, it's important also to have energy savings principles in place, and hence we calculate all our needs based on these principles. Buildings modernization, street lighting. This project is being implemented in Zaporizhia now. And in pre-war years, in 20 and 22, we actually decided that we should include the green components in all our project, the heat pumps, the green energy components were offered for communities. Initially, communities were not very supportive to this, but now it is fully clear for the communities that these green components are fully related to our projects, and the green component is very important in these projects we implement today. Challenges, we have many projects, and also we have a growing number of challenges as well. And the most painful are the following: that is security and damage and of reconstruction. We have an example in Chernihiv. We implement district heating piping because our consultants during the last shelling, they were on the site, and you may imagine how all this affects people, how all this affects the locals, and how this affects those who work. They are aware of that what they do, what do they try to implement could be destroyed one day. And they witnessed this, how it is difficult to live and work under shelling. And also lack of human resources, subcontractors, engineers, construction workers. Before the war, actually, it was very easy to find the subcontractors, and now it is very difficult to find construction companies that are ready to work in the areas, territories where we work. And we had also cases. Actually, we had the situation when our equipment was fully destroyed at shelling. And it is important to understand that NEFCO tries to work as quick as possible and to finalize them in the shortest possible time. On the other hand, we are working on the high-quality project implementation and good results. We understand that we are living in the time of hardships, but for us it's very important to reconstruct or construct the new green Ukraine. In principle, actually, last slide actually answered all our questions. NAFCA early worked with businesses, and actually after the war started, you closed this activity area. NAFCA works mainly with communities from 2015. At that time we had our last business business projects, what actually you need in order to enlarge your operations, constitutional capacity, solid preparation, project preparation, it's must. And for us, it's important to find a system-based strategic project of interest of the communities. And for us, it's important to have these projects viable, facilities viable after project finalization. Thank you very much. Thank you for the representative of NEFCO for detailing us on their operation. GIZ support is huge for Ukraine. There are very many projects. Volodymyr Peregudov, Victoria Garagan. We have 2 programs you are planning to present. 5 minutes each, please, for your speech. And we are ready to listen to you. Thank you, Serhii. Tetyana actually allowed me to be the first. Energy efficiency implementation in line with the EU Directive on the energy efficiency. One of the tasks for us is promote energy efficiency, and the directive is based on energy efficiency. It is the most, and when we speak about reconstruction, recovery, all this should be based on what we are doing. Our project is a classical project of the international support project. I will not talk a lot on this. There are 2 responses normally from the OEDCs. Probably you are IT sphere experts. You assist only IT sector. And we are trying to build up institutional capacities in different sectors. We have the components in the program. Work with communities is the activity area for which I am responsible. We should transfer knowledge on energy management for the communities, and it means with this they will be able to provide operational management in their communities. And after this training, they will be ready to prepare more high-quality projects. And today, very many people said that sometimes we have certain bottlenecks and gaps when people were not able to install properties, supplied equipment. So for us, it's very important to have such an environment and condition when we have equipment, when we have money. For us, it's important to give learning for communities how to use equipment and how to use financial resources. And many who work with communities, those who got the international support from GIZ or other international companies, it is really easier to work because they have the basic institutional capacities. We will be continuing doing this in future. We are expecting to have because 3 weeks ago we have signed the memorandum between GIZ and Ministry of Development of Communities and Territories. We believe that we will continue our work in partnership with the cities, energy efficient cities. And actually, with empowering institutional capacities, we're planning to implement a number of pilot demonstration projects where we'll show in practice to our communities the way the projects to be implemented. And also now we finalize our study together with our colleagues in order to know what were the gaps, what were the bottlenecks in order to improve our operation and our work with communities as well. And I give the floor to my colleague, and she will be talking on the programs that were not typical in the earlier periods.
Our project of improving resilience of cities of territorial communities in Ukraine is implemented by the German International Society and the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation of Germany. So our project is doing of recovery of social infrastructure and residential infrastructure in the cities for the last 2 years. Together with the partners, we successfully implemented measures of recovery. About some of them we will speak. We will tell you more in details. We recovered 355 houses from vulnerable groups of populations. The 2 university buildings, a school, a therapy block of a city hospital, and dormitory for IDPs and center of social services. We improved the resilience in the water supply and introduced a decentralized solution. Now a project supplied 118 cogeneration plants. We developed conceptions for 3 hospitals in Kryvyi Rih, and we introduced solutions for water supply in Mykolaiv. And one of our partners, if we speak about examples of successfully implemented projects, one of our partners is Kharkiv National University, named after Garagan, and the university suffered because of shelling 2nd September 2024. Windows were broken and frames. Our project replaced 50 windows, and we put protective film on windows to make them resilient to explosions. Our project in Mykolaiv performed repair works. They are done from Mykolaiv High School number 10 that suffered because of missile attack. There was a direct hit in the yard of the high school. All the windows, all doors were broken, and as of today, the school is repaired. Fire alarm is introducced, and we prepare a ceremony for reopening of the school. To be the school for 240 pupils of 2nd to 9th grades. In Mykolaiv, we opened a new department of ergotherapy in Mykolaiv, but they didn't suffer of the invasion from Russian Federation. But these premises, they were not used, they were in a very bad conditions, and so the city needed them very much, and so we equipped them with beds and equipment, and 1,200 patients will be treated per year. One of the relevant projects for us, and all the support of decentralized energy supply and the protection of decentralized energy production elements. So as we said, we supplied 118 cogeneration units that allow our clients, the communities, to get heating and compensate the switching off from centralized grid. So it's very important with the heating season. For 3 city hospitals, we developed a concept of decentralized energy supply. We supplied the model boilers and 3 cogeneration units. As we understand today's challenges for cogeneration units, our project supplies protective structures of reinforced concrete that will protect from debris, indirect heat. Our partners, municipal companies, Luxembourg Red Cross, Ukrainian Red Cross, local architects, local construction companies, local NGOs. And finally, we managed to implement this amount of works because we have a very strong partner relations that allows us to move forward and make our country resilient. And the key factor of success is the municipal owners and the transparency of the local self-government bodies. And also, as the colleagues were saying, we were capable to assure our obligations because some support works can need our partners to be involved. And very important that with this successful experience, we needed to show this influence so that together with the donor organizations, we have the support from our partners, from self-government, from communal, municipal companies. And if we say what we need from scaling of successful projects, but getting advice from our colleagues, we can say that we need standardized concepts that we can multiply, we can continue when we know that we'll have the financing from donors. We're very important to exchange experience with the partners because, especially now, because of some inventions in current situations, they appear right now, and if we can share them, it's very useful, and our partners are very thankful. And also in our projects, we try to look at the long-term perspectives, and if we have these evacuation measures and repairs, so we try to envisage modernization in the future. And so also the concept of recovery, which was developed for Kryvyi Rih, as a concept. So in this case, there was indirect missile hit, and during the recovery, we included the measures for energy efficiency, so that in the future it would be possible to put solar panels on the roof. Thank you, Victoria. Let's thank. It's not a work by GIZ. Maybe we will be able to make a separate panel that GIZ does in Ukraine. But it's very important that the most important that you showed how the partner cooperation is important. And now, thank you. And now, Andrii Berestian, General Director of Danfoss Ukraine, please, the floor is yours and your presentation. If you permit, I will stand up because I cannot sit anymore. So the people tell me just raise you up, and so the presentation. When I was invited to this panel, and Olena asked me, "Can you share some project?" And I would say, "How do I know? Maybe it is my project or not." GIZ is doing a lot. NEFCO, we participate as well, but we were thinking and contemplating, and we decided to share the approach which is shared since before the war and until now, where we live. we could light up these approaches with one single project in Slobodych city financed by NEFCO, and to make some parallels, which approaches we can use in implementation of the project, and light up this project with this project. So, couple of words about the project, and now maybe Danfoss knows about us as ITP. But what is interesting, these are not multi-story buildings, but 28 private houses that are connected to centralized heating. It's not typical for Ukraine, but for Ukraine, it's exception. But in Europe, this is normal. And so this is the replacement of heating pipes. This is the project. What we face now, we spoke a lot about this, and we spoke several times that it is about people, about competences. And unfortunately, looking what the designers are doing, that design engineering infrastructure, sometimes we want to cry, but we should accept this reality. We have less people. We should live with that, and we should do something. Resources and money, it's a problem always. We want to build fast and with good quality, or just to build something new. And also the limitations of technological challenges and technical challenges. Maybe we should adjust all the challenges to what we have, and really we face some problems. As for the competences, if about Slobodych, so some. In some way, it's a small community, but which can become not only an example, but as a concept, because we have a long-term planning, because not depending who comes and goes, some deal, some course is continued, and people know how to make steps 1, 2, 3, 4. Even if Slobodych, there are plans not so big, but people implement them, and we should say. We should recognize that the mayor is working, the people around him are working, and step by step I was speaking already. And what we came to now, it's the use of standardized solutions in the maximum. So we will not avoid this, and these standardized solutions, ready solutions, they are important.
Рішення, тим простіше його запроектувати.
Solutions are very important. The more they are understandable, the cheaper project could be implemented. The point is that it could give good profits for the company, as such ready-made solutions. They provide also a lower cost maintenance, and it is also one of the issues to be in focus, because sometimes there are solutions that it is very difficult to maintain. And in this project also we had the monitoring systems and remote control systems, and all this allows us to reduce the maintenance costs, because you may easily see what's wrong here or there, and then to think how to fix it up. And then if, for example, when you have this or that breakdown, then you will have the full idea what to do. Technical and engineering restrictions and limitations. Sometimes people get to us, and they sometimes always ask us. There are solutions that could be easily implemented, and to imagine something difficult and to invent the bicycle, sometimes it's not appropriate. If we have the specific for the house, private, individual, freestanding housing, how to connect this central district heating. There is one small ready-made solution available in the market, and it's so easy to use it and nothing to be invented. Standardized solutions, both in engineering and technologies, all these lead that the designing phase takes less time. Also preparation for the preparation and assembling, because they take a ready-made block, put a plug in the socket, and everything is running. So it means also with this we could reduce operational costs. And actually, because we have had a certain experience, because we are present here for a long time, because sometimes probably our sales are lower than we expect, because mainly of the lack of competencies in Hromadas. And also when we speak about ready-made solutions, when they are scaled up, they could be also localized in order to in terms of production, and the production costs in Ukraine will be lower than in Europe. And naturally, minimization of errors, it could be done at the expense of the implementation of the ready-made solutions. All these will give us certain privileges, certain benefits. Thank you, Andrii. Actually, you have voiced very many important issues like standardized solution, how they are important. If any question from the floor, you are much welcome. Natalia, do you have a question? Thank you. My name is Natalia Febrik. I'm a journalist. I would like to ask you, Vitalii, training of trainers. It's a sort of a very broad activity area, and very many donors speak on this, and many NGOs are engaged in it to give training for veterans, for women. For example, what about, could we invite trainers to Ukraine, or do you send and post these trainees to the east, to the Eastern Europe? Actually, no doubt we speak about the Hromadas with high capacities, because if you have do you really agree that it is much easier to work with Hromadas who are ready to work and could work? I will try to answer questions. I will be brief. Actually, to give training for trainers and lecturers, it's really very difficult. Because, here we should also have highly proficient people as well. And now we in such a timing living that communication with support of internet, it's very flexible and gives lots of benefits. European colleagues and European partners are very cautionable with regards to traveling to Ukraine. You know what are the reasons behind. And you know, some countries even limited legislatively the opportunity to travel, to have a business traveling to Ukraine. So what we do actually, we normally post our highly specialists who have a good command of knowledge to the territories where they could give this knowledge and skills to the others. And now, for us, it's important also to give training for the installation personnel as well. We don't forget, we keep an eye on this, and that's all. Briefly, in my presentation, I said capacity building is so important because we have lots of small and medium communities who had no experiences in partnership with international institutions. What do we do normally for such communities? We invite international experts, and these international experts, they give knowledge to these communities, knowledge on project preparation, feasibility and study, and that's why we are very open to very many communities, even very small communities who have had no experience earlier in international projects implementation. And thank you very much. I believe that if any question, we will have also more time for questions and answers. How to invite trainers, how to engage them. Andrii mentioned that when you go through the phase of exception, then you are ready to start with reconstruction. But let's rely on a slogan that we have the ever best people, and we will be relying on them.